feel like I join the choir. Shit, I should go to church. Amen. Praise the Lord. Amen. Amen. Praise the Lord. I think I'ma join the choir. Cause we was singing, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, it was wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was singing, yeah. Oh, we was singing, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir. Cause we was singing, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, man, this chicken got real wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was singing, yeah. Oh, we was singing, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir. What you know about losing your best friend, or losing your best man, losing your blood brother from a senses, wishing you can feel him again. All the real niggas put y'all hands in the air for the real niggas y'all can lost. All the real niggas chuck y'all gang in the air for all the bitch niggas y'all done taught. Man, this shit got real crazy, feel like we losing niggas on the daily. All I had tears in my eyes, anger said somebody need to die. I was trying to get some get back, they killed my homie of a bitch, nigga. I be down, won't get my get back. Let's crack a look at me wrong, that boy about to get his shit pushed back. I think I'ma join the choir. Cause we was singing, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, it was wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was singing, yeah. Oh, we was singing, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir. Cause we was singing, we was hanging in the field. We had Glocks with extensions, man, this chicken got real wicked and tricky, yeah. Oh, we was singing, yeah. Oh, we was singing, yeah. I think that I'ma join the choir.
Are you done?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done taking the blame. And I'm done caring. I have loved you for half my life. But I'm done running after you.
Ladies, real quick, don't get it twisted. I mean, the world got y'all tore up. They got y'all thinking that y'all the only ones who get fed up. Like y'all the only ones who get tired of somebody doing wrong and tired of somebody putting y'all through it. But let me tell you something. If you got a good man, what you need to know is, guess what? Men get fed up too. There come a point in the time where men get tired of you going through the same foolishness over and over again. The man get tired of you complaining. The man tired of you dragging him down. The man tired of you not being happy because he's not being perfect. Guess what? A man will get fed up too. And he might not leave. He might stay with you. He might be in that corner sitting down quietly and you think he content and you think he happy because he's not really saying much and he's not complaining. But nah, in his mind, he's moved on. See, y'all not the only ones who get it together and be like, you know what? I see what you're doing, so I'm going to start doing me, and I'm just not going to tell you nothing. No, you're not the only one. See, y'all think because y'all get bad men and bad men do certain things, and then y'all start to manipulate the situation, start moving a certain way that a good man isn't in the same category. See, the good man is just like the good woman. He's going to get fed up one day, and oh, when he get fed up, oh, you're going to regret the day. You're going to wish it had never happened. You're going to wish it had been a whole different thing. You're going to wish you had kept the good thing you had, but now you don't believe that. So I tell you what, just keep moving how you moving. Keep doing what you're doing. Just keep complaining. Just keep waiting for the real man that you want to come along. Just keep waiting for the good man that you say you're going to get to come along. And while you waiting on him, the good man you have is going to get fed up and he going to leave. And then you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Free game.
Free game. Welcome to the Too Much Moxie podcast. I am your humble host, Too Much. And I got with me today my co-host, the big Walter Downing. And
yes, sir.
Are in the building. What is going down? What is going down? What's up, Walter? Talk to me, man. How you been, sir?
Hey, I've been just living life, brother. You know, getting the bag. You know, trying to knock out this port work. They got all this work on the water and they're not getting the people their goods, and So, and just trying to live life, trying to teach people rights, singles and couples ministry, and y'all can hit me up whenever. My channel's coming soon, and
Y'all hit
a
up the
lot of
big
things in the
Walter Downing.
works.
Y'all hit up the big. Y'all just Google that name, Walter Downing, man. Hit him up on Facebook, IG, Twitter, all the social media sites, man. Y'all send that brother a message, man. Let him know that he's doing a good job on the show, man. Let him know how y'all feel about him. Y'all send him the message. Y'all be sending me messages, but y'all send that brother the message, man. Don't make me the middleman. Go directly to the man, the big Walter Downing. Man, now let's get into this program today, man. Let's talk about it, man. We're talking about a couple things, man. We're going to get into probably toward the end of the show, man. We're going to open up with men being fed up. Men, when a man is fed up, what happens when a man is fed up? What happens when you got a good man, ladies? A good man, and you just work his nerve just a little bit too much? What happens when a man is fed up? Now, Walter, I'm sure you run into this problem all the time, man. You're doing your singles ministry, your couples ministry there, and you run into these guys, and they're complaining about the woman they're with.
Yeah.
Complaining. Like, what does she do? Like, what's so bad? Like, do women do anything wrong? Can a woman do anything wrong?
As a human, no human should be exempt from a human behavior. But socially, they've made it socially to where a woman can't do anything wrong, and it's been hard. It's been difficult doing, counseling and singles and couples ministry lately because everybody thinks that, oh, I could just go on to the next one, and that's the hardest part because now nobody really wants to do the work for relationships. So when a man is fed up, okay, you fed up, cool, I'll just go on to the next one. And sometimes they don't get the next one. Sometimes they be single until they for the next couple of decades, So yeah, it's a difficult thing.
I mean, why is it that women believe that they got all these chances? There's so many Negroes in the pond that they can just pluck them out. Why do they feel like they can just there's always going to be another? Why do they feel like there's always a ram in the bush for them? Why?
Well, it's because I hate to say this, but I mean I got to be real with it for the men. It's because of man culture, toxic male culture, toxic male chivalry. Like a lot of us have cultivated women to be like this. Like a lot of the simps. I grew up on a lot of older guys that I have issue with right now because they was trying to teach the happy wife, happy life, and they was just so adamant about it, and a lot of them died at like 50 years old, 45 years old, even 60 years old. That's still young,
Right. Trying to make their wife happy. You die early trying to make your wife happy, huh?
Yeah, trying to make their wife happy. And I mean, I'm not trying to compare women to kids, even though sometimes women act like kids, like in that video clip where he said, stop acting like you're 5 years old. The more you spoil somebody and not build them up to be the strength for the family, they're just going to take it for granted. Nobody appreciates anything that they didn't have to work for. And so if you don't do relationship work and you don't have to work for it, then they're just the behavior is going to continue to be something that you're going to wind up getting fed up for.
Right. And I've been there, man. I've gotten fed up. I've been in I had a ex-wife at the time. I was in a relationship that, man, I don't want to just put my business out there, but man, I was fed up. I was fed up. And normally men don't leave when they're fed up. They stick around because they got to try and they got to make it work and they got to, they got to try a little harder and they got to, if you're a man, right? If you're a man, you don't like to lose, right? You don't like to just walk away. You don't like to, if you're a man that's used to executing, you want to execute. You know, you want to see it through to the end. But comes a time when a man keeps telling you over and over and over again, and it's falling on deaf ears. And it's almost like you know, what's that saying where it's, you know, tone deaf or children, was it
Yeah.
children deaf, or what do they call it, where you just keep talking and it just redundant. It doesn't have the same effect as when you said it the first time. So now it just like, oh, he always says that. Oh, he's not really serious, right? He's not, you know, so it's like they stop listening to you. They get tone deaf, right? They get too familiar, right? You guys been in a relationship so long, it's like, oh, now the respect is gone. And once the respect is gone, let me tell you right now, when the respect is gone in any relationship, any marriage, it's over. It's just a matter of time. You're just waiting for the other person to die at that moment, right?
Oh,
You're just waiting for the other person to just pass on so you can do what you really want to do, or you just gonna just get up out of it. Get up out of it. You're gonna walk
making
away.
each other miserable.
Yeah, you're gonna look at your options. You're gonna be like, you know what? I could be miserable with money, or I could be happy and broke. And men don't usually like to choose broke, but at some point, when a man gets fed up, right? If you're a man, if you're a real man, you know you can build it back up again, right? If you lost it, you can build. It's gonna take some time, but you know you can do it. So you just cut your losses and you walk away. Men get fed up, and men, it's okay to get fed up. It's okay. It's not okay to be miserable. It's time to start taking a page out the ladies' books. You know, irreconcilable differences, right? It's time to start taking a page out the ladies' book. He who files first usually wins. That's the tip for the men. He who files first usually wins. It was told to me. I got some good advice, man, when I was in a relationship, man. I was either gonna stick around and wait for her to leave, right? No, don't do that. Or I was gonna stick around and hope that she would get better. That probably doesn't happen because women stop working on themselves, right? They don't work on themselves. Men work on themselves. Women, you know, accept me for who I am. That's their story, right? Or I could just cut my losses while it's early. File. Get out of there with little to no problem. We had no kids. That was a good thing. We had no children. And say, you know what? If this one won't listen, another one will. Let me say it again. If this one won't listen, another one will. We sell out for femininity. We sell out for women who are in shape. And we sell out for women who listen. That's the way it is. Walter, have you ever been fed up, man?
Yeah, I'm part of that as well. There's things that I wish I would have been taught when I was younger, because some things, if we're taught when we're younger, and we do premarital courting and premarital work, we could save ourselves a lot of the drama. So that's why I believe before we get fed up with women, we have to get fed up with the system in which men are taught. Because if we can develop a system where men are taught to stay away from certain people, and to where men are taught, like, hey, you don't have to take this. As people are saying, as a man, you have to take this. No, you don't. And knowing how to weed out certain behavior, then we could prevent these situations later where we're like, oh, dang, we're fed up. Because one of the main things men are taught, like, hey, you know, if you treat your woman right, you know, she'll treat you right. And that's a huge lie. You know,
Huge.
and especially in the church, it's really rampant in the church. They're like, oh yeah, yeah. If you just look after your woman and treat her right, God will bless your no, God. They take God out of context, because God tells you to have stewardship, be able to know how to evaluate people. And yeah, to answer your question, I've been fed up before, but I've had to realize that a lot of it came from um, me having to learn in my adulthood the hard way instead of and things I wasn't taught as a kid that would have really helped me be able to avoid a fed up situation.
Right, right. I mean, man, let me tell you like this, man. When dealing with a woman, man, you have to set the boundaries early. The moment you don't set those boundaries early, you're gonna have to deal with so much stuff later. It's like a pile up. It's like if you don't deal with 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 the accident now, it's gonna cause if you don't get that car over to the side of the road as quick as possible, it's gonna cause a traffic jam. It's gonna be a traffic jam. We got Daniel from Honda's chat last night, man. What's going on with you, man? Glad to see you
Yo,
down.
what's good, Daniel?
What's good with you?
Yeah,
Uh,
those some solid brothers over there.
yeah, man. We had a good show. We had a good show over there, man. I know you left. You left a little bit. I stuck around, man. I know my phone kept getting hot, so it kept kicking me off. So I'd have to let my phone cool down and then hop back on. So I said, let me just blast this AC on in the car and drive home. And even though it was cold at night, but I said, let me just blast this AC, drive home, cool my phone down, and then hop back on. But man, we had a good show with those brothers, man. We talked about a bunch of topics over there. Them are some good brothers over there, man. They know what they're talking about. They're woke, right? But they're not woke, right? That's the good thing, man. I think they talked about what is wokeness over there too, and we kind of got into what is wokeness. But I got a different terminology for woke, man. If I think it's good to be woke. I think it's bad to be woke, where you look at everything where it's just like a penny falls on the floor and you're like, oh, that's a conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? But I think you should be woke. You should understand code. The codification that's going on, the stuff that's happening in front of you, and also being happening behind the scenes. You should understand. So, shout out to my boy Daniel, man. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining the broadcast, man. We're a little light today, man. We had like 600 people the other day, man. Now we're 3. So it's okay. It's okay. It's Monday. I guess the weekend we was just we was popping. So now it's Monday. It's back to the minutia. So everybody's moving in slow. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But men get fed up, man. I get fed up. Man, you got to understand, man, that it's okay to get fed up. It's okay. But here's the thing. What's not okay is you thinking because you're a man, you have to deal with it. Because you're a man, you have to put up with all the BS, all the backlash. Don't let them shame you into thinking, oh, you're running away. Oh, no, you're not running away. You're running towards peace. You're not running away from anything. You're running towards something. You're running towards peace. You're running towards prosperity. If you're not running away from her. You're just cutting her off, and you're running towards something that could be better. That's what it is, man. Men get fed up, just like women get fed up.
Yeah, we also have to realize the social stigma, because people aren't going to. This isn't a popular topic because right now with the social climate, they're like, what? Men get fed up. Why should men get fed up? You guys have been doing blah, blah, blah to us for years and blah, blah, blah. Like I've been in plenty of discussions where a lot of women don't think that men should get fed up. Like
they think we're weak. If men get fed up, they think we're weak. They want to shame us real quick. But it's okay for them to get fed up, right? It's okay for them to get fed up. It's okay for them to plan their escape, as they like to speak. It's okay for them to ruin what you got going on, right? And then leave at a time when they're at the highest, right? That's what they do. See, when a woman gets fed up, she doesn't necessarily leave right away. She starts planning. She starts plotting.
Or not even weak. That a lot of them think that we're perpetrators. So they're like, how can a perpetrator get fed up? Because in the social climate of Me Too and all these other women's empowerment whatnot and simps and so forth, they think like, why should a man get fed up? You guys been doing blah X, Y, and Z to us for years. There's no reason why men should get fed up. We get dehumanized.
Oh yeah.
We get, and that's the problem. That's why we need to change the male image, because too many social and other entities have made the male image to be what it's not. The male image right now is the F boy and the absent father and the man who leaves and blah blah blah, and we're over here like, wait a minute, that's not us.
Right.
We're doing what we need to do. You guys just wanted to make a poster boy for your hurt, and now we have to deal with that, and it sucks.
Man. Walter, you counsel many men, many women, many singles, many couples. What advice would you give a man that comes to you and says, you know what, I've been with this woman for, I don't know, 10 years.
Right.
And I just can't do, I feel like I can't do it anymore. I have kids, I have a family, I love my children, but I can't, all she does is want to party all the time. All she wants to do is, she shows up late. I think she's cheating. I can't prove it. She doesn't listen. She doesn't respect me. She puts my stuff out on social media. She puts my business out there. She makes it hard for my kids to listen to me. Right? I feel like she's turning my kids against me. I'm just fed up, Walter. What do I do?
Well, for the sake of the show, first I kind of introduce him to the manosphere, because a lot of men don't want to direct their family or direct their wife or woman to cultivation, because they're afraid of her attitude. They're afraid of divorce. They're afraid of what's going on, because men have came to me with that. And I said, well, have you had this conversation with her? Have you sat down, had this conversation? Have you had, well, no, because well, I'm like, you're supposed to be the cultivator of that garden, and she's supposed to be your helpmate. So if you're not cultivating and saying, hey, this is how things need to be, can you help me with that? And find out her answer from that. But if you're just trying to freestyle and expect her to do things with no direction from you, then that's what we need to find out first. Are you giving your relationship and your family proper direction?
So what do you mean freestyling? When you say freestyling, you mean like just going off the cup, or what do you mean freestyling?
Well, there's a lot of men that's like, I'll say, well, go talk to her about it. Let's have a conversation. No, she probably gonna do what she wants to do anyway, blah blah blah. You speculate, and then he just goes to his male corner and just tries to take it on all on himself. And I'm like, no, that you can't do that. You have to be brave. You have to be bold, because maybe, like in that clip that you played, right? I mean, I know it's a movie, but what happened as soon as he stepped outside of I'm just going to take it on as a man, and he actually talked to both of those women in that situation. They got in line, right?
In that clip, they got in line, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of men are afraid to do that because they fear divorce, right? Or they don't want their women withholding sex, or all these things, right? And I'm like, well, look, let's see if you can direct traffic as a man first and see how she responds, right? Once, and this isn't to put a woman down. This is just direction for family. You have to do a lot of people hate men directing things, right? But whether you own a business, whatever else you do in life, you have to have direction. You have to have teamwork, right? Like for anything, right? So why is it that when it comes down to relationship topics, that every other thing flies out the window, every other common sense thing that we use for business, that we use for cultivation, blah blah blah, goes out the window? No, it's the same principles apply. So that's what I do. I talk to the man, and then once he starts directing and running his house with her, and they're doing teammates, cultivating and whatnot, okay, cool. But if he's giving direction and she's fighting him every step of the way, okay, now we need to make different decisions. Now it's time to go into a different realm. But we can't find that out until you take your place and mantle as a healthy man for your family first.
Right. And it's important that, like you said, you have to evaluate what they're doing in that situation. Like, okay, so explain to me, kind of walk me through what you're fed up with and how she responds, right? You kind of like, okay, so when you say this, how does she respond when you say this? Okay, when you say this, well, what does she do when you say that? When you do this, how does she respond when you do that? Because you have to check that man's leadership, right?
Right.
Does he know how to lead?
Right.
Maybe she's not responding because she doesn't think you're a good leader.
Right.
And we understand in the Black community, most Black women don't look at Black men as good leaders. They don't necessarily respect them. They fall in love. They have emotions. They get those little tingly feelings. But as far as when it comes to leadership and the direction of the man that's leading, they don't really trust it. They think, no, my mama said this. Big mama does it this way. I feel like I need to do this right now. My kids come first. My kids come first. Or, there's so many hangups when it comes to a man taking his position and leading. We got about 62 people in the chat. I want you guys to do me a favor. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and hit the like button right now. And hit the notification bell just so y'all know when we're broadcasting. But we're talking about when men are fed up. When men are fed up. When men are fed up, we get fed up too. What do we do when we get fed up? A lot of times men retreat to that little corner, like Walter's talking about. We retreat, right? We go to the top of the rooftop, right? We chill in the corner of the rooftop and let the wife have the house. We try to build ourselves a house outside of the house, right? So we don't got to come home all the time, right? So we try to build us a house somewhere else, right? We try to find us a man cave. We try to find us somewhere where we can run and hide instead of go in there and face that woman and say, listen, I'm fed up. And give her an ultimatum. Say, you either change or I leave or you leave. That's what you got to do. You got to go in there and be a man. You got to go in there and see, you cannot be afraid of loss. Loss is a part of life. You win some and you lose some. You win some relationships and you lose some relationship. You win some women and you lose some women. It just comes with the territory, right? So you cannot be afraid of loss, especially if you paid the cost to be the boss. How you going to be the boss and you're unhappy?
Right. And that's another thing men have to realize as well. Because if you go to a woman and say, hey, there needs to be changes or else I'm gonna start making some decisions, or I'm gonna be out or whatnot. She's gonna say, you have to be ready. She's gonna say, okay, change to what? What's your
Right.
direction? What's your plan? What's your blueprint? And I've did a lot of singles and couples ministry where the man didn't have a plan. He didn't have a blueprint. You know, he was just frustrated with the way the relationship was going. But when she was like, okay, what's the direction? He didn't have a plan. He didn't have a direction. And so that's why I try to help men realize, you know, sometimes you're fed up with your own lack of direction. Sometimes you're fed up with your own fears before it even gets to being fed up with the woman. So there's two things going on. You could be fed up with your own insecurities before you are fed up with the things of the woman, right? And then if we get to the woman, right, you have to be able to realize, like, when you get together with somebody, make sure that they don't have the doggy in the window mentality, or the plant on the shelf mentality. And what do I mean by that? Okay, you have to make sure you get with somebody that understands cultivation in the first place. Because how many times have you seen somebody go and say, hey, I want that plant, right? And on the tag of the plant, it says, okay, this is what you need to do to take care of that plant. You need to water it and blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. You know, so they take the plant home. And they're, you know what, I got this going on. Dang, I only watered the plant. It says you got to water the plant 3 times a week. Dang, I only watered the plant once this week because I got this to do, blah, blah, blah. And you got to do this to the plant, it says on the tag. Yeah, but I got to go out and so after a while, the plant starts to die, right? And the plant gets frustrated and it starts to die. And you go in the house and the plant's dead, and all because, and then what do? Just throw the plant away. And that's what's happening to men. Men are being picked and chosen
And thrown away.
and choosing people that don't know how to cultivate them, and then they get thrown away. And what happens? Oh, I'll get another plant, right? Or if we take it to another sad thing, somebody goes gets a puppy. I'm not trying to compare men to animals or anything, but you know, just peep the analogy. Like, you go and it says, hey, you need to walk this dog, spend time with this dog, or your pet or whatever, so many times a day, right? You need to feed it, blah, 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 right? The person that they like, oh, I got this to do. I can't take you out for a walk today. And then what happens? The dog starts chewing on the furniture, right? Or peeing in the house, or blah, blah, blah. And what happens? Hey, you know, I can't, you know, you're not keeping up with my lifestyle, even though the directions said clearly. And what do? The dog goes back to the pound or gets dropped off somewhere. And that's the state of men right now. Some men are choosing women that don't know how to cultivate, and then women are saying, you know, I'll just go on to the next.
Yeah, women are just, you know, it's just so easy for a woman to move on. They don't really expect the guy to move on. The women already know that they're going to move on because they're looking at you as a stepping stone anyway, right? They're looking at you as, okay, they're looking at you. See, it's like, instead of men, right, choosing women, right, that fit their lifestyle and fit their mold and builds their legacy, they're choosing women women are choosing them who fit their lifestyle, their mold. And they're like, okay, you know, women are coming in saying, I want a legacy. I have a vision. I have a plan. And they want men to fit into their plan, into their vision, their legacy. And that's wrong. And men are allowing that. Men are like, oh, she's cute. Cool. I'll kick it with her, you know? Yeah. And they come to find out, they're the toy in the relationship, right? They're the toy that she's playing with, that she's going to eventually get tired of playing with, right?
Right.
They're just there. Well, most women are there just to learn the game from the man, and then take that game and use it somewhere else. See, men, we give up the game, especially to our significant other and our wives, so that wife can cultivate the family. But these women are taking that game and they're like, well, This isn't the man that I really want. Let me take his game and let me use it on the man that I really want, on the next man. They think that there's a next man for them. There's always that next mentality. But really, men are losing that next mentality. Men, you got to have that next mentality. Next, 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 next. She can't be the main focal point. Your purpose has to be the main focal point. And if she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing to get you to where you need to be, to get your family to build the legacy the way you want it, you got to have that next mentality also. It's okay to get fed up. It's okay to leave. It's okay to start over. It's not comfortable starting over, but it's okay.
And one thing that we need to realize, because one thing as a man, you do need to have a next mentality. Like, hey, you know, if this person isn't doing right, next, right? But if you're having too many next, you have to
look at
go
yourself.
back and reevaluate what your appetite is. What are you choosing to entertain? Because too many men are entertaining the BBL and the you know, things that they shouldn't be entertaining. And it's like, hey, you're over here in a garden trying to get what God doesn't even want for you. You know, you're over here and you're in the wrong garden. Hey, go over there in that garden. You know, like if you spend too much time in this garden, you're just going to live a whole life of doing next, right? But if you work on your mentality and work on your appetite and work on understanding who to take in and build up your future correctly, your appetite, then you'll have less of next type experiences. You'll be able to draw in and filter out the correct thing, because some people get lost in an abyss of next, and they're like, you know what, I can't find the right one. I'm tired of it. And then I go and look at, okay, let me go look what's on your social media. Let me go look what you're after. And all I see, but this is just in sessions that I do. And all I see is, okay, you have a lot of twerking videos. You have a lot of BBL videos on. Where are the women that cult? Oh yeah, I just look at that for my eye candy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I understand. But what is your mind and your spirit consuming on the daily? We have to look at it like we look at health, right? If you eat McDonald's every day, you're going to wind up getting cancer, or you're going to wind up getting diabetes or whatever, right? So yeah, so if you consume the wrong things for your mentality when it comes to women, then you're going to wind up, you're going to be inevitably I'm getting tongue tied, fed up for too many years.
Correct. Man, we as men, we have to stand up, man. We have to be more intentional, right? We have to be more, even more. I would even say men have to be more stoic, okay, and less emotional.
Right.
Okay, we have to be more level-headed. Okay, we have to we have to, you know, these are things that you guys should have developed already that should not have to be taught. You're an adult now, man. You have to understand what is going. You have to be able to evaluate the situation and be able to evaluate it correctly. If you haven't built these skills up, then man, y'all better join the Patreon, because we're gonna start giving that game to you in the Patreon, man. Okay. Eventually, I'm gonna shoot you guys with the link. I want to put up some more videos first. Put about 5 or 6 videos before I start giving out people the Patreon. But I kind of want to structure it in a way to where it's an introduction, and then we start our journey. This is step 1. This is step 2. This is step 3, and we kind of go at that pace. And then eventually, I'll put some random videos. You know, me in Africa, me traveling or whatever. You know, we'll put some stuff of Walter up in there, you know, get him up in there doing his things, you know. We'll get him doing some teachings and some things like that in there as well, man, just so we can, because we want to equip you guys, man. We want to equip you guys with the truth. We want you to put on the full armor of God, right? The full armor of God, the truth. You can't have any chinks in your metal. You know what I'm saying? We want we want you to be flat, ironed out. We want all the wrinkles out. We want you to be straight. When we get some straightening, we want you to be straight. Does that make sense? And that's what it is. Sometimes you just need a tune-up. Sometimes you just need some straightness. Sometimes you need some talking to. Sometimes you need to be pressed. You need to be, hey, you either get it right or, but as men, we got to come together and have that conversation. Now, we got 2 topics for you guys today, man. Men get fed up, but I got another topic. We got to continue this thing from Kanye, from Ye.
Can I ask one more point, brother?
Go ahead.
Because I know, and I believe this is very important.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of women saying, well, look, how can I keep a man from being fed up? Because this is a decent man. How can I keep a man from being fed up? One is understanding what a man is. Do you understand strength? Do you understand direction? When you got the man that you got, did he check off all the boxes of being a man? Did he check off the boxes of being a family man, being stoic, being all the things that we talk about of being a family man, right? Because when I talk to women in the ministry that I do, a lot of them do not define a man correctly. It's like, okay, what's a strong man? She said, oh, this strong man is blah blah blah. No, that's not it, because there's a lot of situations. Well, he should have punched that guy in the face. No. You think that's strength, but maybe he didn't want to punch that guy in the face because maybe it was a situation where he needed to pull the guy to the side. Maybe it was a situation to where he didn't want to go to jail. Maybe it was a situation to where, he didn't want to be gone so that he can get you guys out of there. Because maybe if he fought and there's a crowd of people, he can't escort you out. So things of that nature. And so understand strength, or, oh, I don't think he should have made that business deal like that, blah, blah, blah. He's not being a man. We'll probably break this down on the Patreon more, but a lot of the definition for being a man, some women get wrong. And then
not to cut you off, man, but that's gonna be the definition of a man. We're gonna go in on. Y'all better join the Patreon, man. When I put the Patreon link out, man, we're gonna help the ladies and the men. Even though we're a men's channel, we're gonna do a little bit of things for the ladies, because I know you guys are coming into our spaces, and I don't want I can't kick you out. You're gonna keep coming anyway. Because I know you guys want this game. We're giving these games to the men. I know you. So I'm gonna have a little bit of stuff for y'all, but also for the men too. The definition of a man. You got to know what a man is. Isaiah Moss says, when a man's fed up, he should drink wine. Said, when a man's fed up, you should drink wine, huh? I hear you. Hey, men get fed up, and we do. And we have our coping mechanisms. Some people smoke weed, some people drink, some people got to get out the house, some people got a punching bag. When we get fed up, we got this pent up aggression that we gotta let go, that we gotta let out. And we get emotional. Men, we get emotional too. And when men get emotional, it's not as good as when a woman gets emotional. Does that make sense? That's why it's important that men, we learn how to master and control our emotions. We must become stoic, especially in pressure situations. The calmer you are, the more level-headed you are to deal with the situation. The more emotional you are, it's not going to be good. Just know when the man gets emotional, it's not a good thing. Watch out. Get out of his way. Okay?
When's the last time you seen a woman that could respond to a man's emotions properly?
When men get emotional, it's not a good thing. That's all I'm saying. Now, we do get emotional. It's okay to get emotional, but it's usually not a good thing. We're not thinking straight. We're just feeling at that point. So we're not using our intellect to get us out of the situation. We're using our emotion that's getting us deeper in the situation. Now, I don't want to let me do a pivot. Let me do a pivot, because I don't want to go too deep. Men get fed up. If you guys want to hear more about topics like that, men get fed up, man, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. Let us know. Send us a comment. Let us know what you guys want to hear about. Let you guys know what you guys want to talk about. But I know you guys want to hear about this topic that we're about to discuss.
Let's go.
I know you guys want to hear about this topic we're about to discuss. We're gonna bring up Russel Simmons, okay, from the back to the front. Okay, we're gonna let him talk to us real quick. Let us know, what is the Jewish problem? Is there a problem? What is the relationship between blacks in America, FBAs, and the Jewish community? We have a message. Most are being emotional, but I am stronger than men. Okay, Liam says from Liam TV. Shout out to Liam TV. We're gonna go into the thumbnail. We're gonna try to tackle a difficult topic, right? We're gonna try to tackle a topic where if you go too far, that word anti-Semitic is gonna be smacking you up and down the face. I mean, if you go too far, your channel can get stripped from you. You can be deplatformed. How do I know? Ask Andrew Tate. Ask Ye. He put DEFCON 3, and his Twitter blew up. His Twitter page just stopped working. He tried to go on IG and he couldn't post anymore. We're gonna try to tackle this topic in the most graceful way we can. But to do it, we must first figure out what the Jewish problem is. And to do that, we're going to have our buddy, Russel Simmons, kind of explain it to us. Now, Russel can get long-winded. So this is going to be about 10 minutes. I'm not going to be able to stop it. I'm just going to let it play through. And then we're just going to talk about it. So for 10 minutes straight, you're about to hear Russel Simmons. This is fair use because we're doing a commentation on this. This is not us using his speech to bring in no. We want to use his speech and then we want to come back and we want to dissect what it is. Is Russel Simmons right? Is Russel Simmons wrong? Does he got it half right? Is he capping and simping? Or matter of fact, what if this happened? What if he's being used to spread propaganda? What if he's being used to keep the narrative, to set the stage for the narrative a certain way? There's so many questions we have about Russel Simmons because, let's be real. Let me say it like this. Russel Simmons is a lot older than Ye. My question is, how come a lot of these brothers haven't risen up to billionaire status yet? And Ye has. Russel Simmons is brilliant, right? Russel Simmons is a genius, maybe, right? He's only worth $340 million. Only worth 300, right? That's only worth 340 million. He's an icon. Run DMC, come on, y'all. Crush Grooves, the Fat Boys, Def Jam, Def Comedy Jam. I'm just curious how come he's not a billionaire yet? But yeah, he is. And why Ye has a problem with this specific group And Russell Simmons, he's built his businesses with people in this specific community. His best friend, his business partners are Jewish. Ye has a problem with, but he's a billionaire. Russell Simmons doesn't have a problem with him, and he's only a millionaire. And he has history and business with the Jews. He's going to break it down for us. So let me not tell you what he's about to say. Let me just play the video. We're going to watch it. It's about 10 minutes. Just bear with it. Soak up the game. Soak up the game. And then we're going to get back and jump into the program. So let's do this.
All right.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe, man. We're about to hit it. Here we go.
All right. Enough is enough. I mean, it's not enough is enough. It's that I always, for 40 years, have been an advocate for the dialogue between blacks and Jews. Why? Because of my experience. And I'll begin with the beginning. When I was a child, I was in the hood, and it was by all accounts a ghetto. I mean, we were underserved community. We were all black. We were mostly in poverty. But I was bused to a school, a white school, in a white neighborhood. Archie Bunker's neighborhood, because from Queens, over there was Archie Bunker's neighborhood. And I would go there in public school, and they would chase me. The Greenways, the Irish gang, would chase me. And the only place I could go was in this community, this little co-op buildings, co-op buildings. And these co-op buildings, I didn't know until later, were Jewish. Me. So there was my first experience with Jews. I didn't know they were Jews. They were white, all white to me, right? But they were Jews. They were my first experience where Billy Lampert and Richard, so these kids, their families protected me. All right, flash forward, I get adult, and I get in the record business, and I meet Rick Rubin and Leo Cohen, and they're my first partners in music, and they were very, very good partners. They did their job, I did mine. And during that time, I was growing as a manager. We had so many bands. I represented so many bands, from the Beastie Boys and LL Cool J and Public Enemy and Slick Rick, so we were the managers. And I would go, my friend Jeff Wald, who was a mentor of mine, Jewish guy, just died, one of my best friends throughout my entire adult life. I went to his wedding. He married this African-American woman, Deborah, who I adore, and his daughter, Sarah, is my family. He married Helen Reddy. Okay, so Jeff Wall, my dear friend who just died, took me on vacation to the Koala Hilton in Hawaii, and all the senior executives and chairmen of the music companies were there. Now here I am, a young black man at the Kahala Hilton. Everybody there is Jewish. The entire community there is Jewish, and everybody there is way more successful than me. So I'm running around sucking up the knowledge, like I'm learning the game. I'm sucking up game, and I became friends with all. The only person who came once that wasn't Jewish was Tommy Mottola, but he never came back. But all of them, the Seymour Stein, whoever they were that were chairmen, I was their friend, and I was a person they would look to kind of help a little bit. And they helped me later on. I might tell that story, but probably don't have time, with the Public Enemy problem. I went right there and tried to fix the fight between Public Enemy and some of the members of the Jewish community. But they empowered me, and I learned a lot, and Jeff Wall was my supporter. And all the chairmen of the music industry were Jews. But you had to flashback before that all the first artists who became pop and who got on the radio and everything else were promoted by Jews. So the Jews did what the WASP didn't want to do in that case. In the music industry, they were the ones who, of course there was some exploitation, but then who wouldn't exploit an opportunity when no one would help you but the one guy?
I got a problem.
So the one Jew would say, I'm going to do this, and some of the deals were very fair, some were not so fair, but they were the only game in town. The Jews helped empower blacks early on in music. But for me, they empowered me, and eventually I got a record deal, and we had great success. Next was fashion. There were no such thing as black people in the fashion business at all. At all. And then I ended up with 75 75 at least licenses. The bags, the belts, the underwear, the wallets, the leather goods didn't include the belts. The belts were separate. The lingerie, the jeans, the leather coats, and the hoodies separate. And then the bomber coats separate. So all these separate businesses were my partners in licensing Fat Farm. And they were all from one community. No, not all, but most from one community, the Syrian Jewish community. And so I was partners with all these Syrian Jews and no WASP. There were WASP in the fashion business, as you might imagine, but none of them were my partner. So I had all these Jews, and they put me in the business. I put Jay-Z in business with some Russian Jews versus the Syrians, but I put him in business. I put Nelly in business with a Syrian Jew, Ruby Azrak, and he and them, they did $100 million 1 year. They must have done $500 million in gross. Huge company. It was called, what the fuck was Nelly's clothing company called? Whatever, I'll come to it later. But Nelly had, as you remember, Apple Bottom, right? So Rockefeller, Apple, I put them all in business with Jews who helped them to become very successful. They owned their company. The Jews distributed and manufactured for them, as did I. Own Fat Farm, and Jews distributed and manufactured for me. So that was and then one time I can tell you a great story how all the buildings, every building on 125th Street, owned by Jews, all by Syrian Jews too, so it's kind of interesting. The little families in Ocean Parkway owned all the real estate. Why did they own the real estate? Because blacks couldn't afford it and WASP didn't want to own it. Similar to when I was a kid and the Jews owned some of the candy stores and the grocery stores. So why did Jews in our business? Because the WASP didn't want to be, and the blacks couldn't afford it again. So from a business standpoint, we should see them. They got their hands dirty. Even in banking, they got their hands dirty. Money was dirty. So why are the Jews so close to us? They're in businesses that we are in, businesses that the WASP didn't like or didn't want, and then they ended up being the #1 empowerment group for us in those businesses. I was going to tell you about the buildings on 125th Street. 125th Street, every building was owned by a Syrian Jew, everything. So Dr. J's and Jimmy Jazz and S&D's and all the clothing stores, because that was the fashion revolution. And there were so many fashion brands and so much black fashion and black distribution of ideas, but they were all through Syrian Jews retail. So one guy says, a Syrian tells me, yo, let's buy this building. How much? I don't know. I didn't do it, but I could have. They said, what are we going to do with it? We're going to call it black owned. But your cousin lives next door. Your cousin owns the store, our competitor next door. If we buy the building, we'll be competing with your cousin. It's just business. But he wanted to yell black owned from that. That was a fact. We wanted to have a black owned store in the midst of all the Syrian owned stores. And we would have used race as a race card because, of course, 125th Street, it should be black owned. And he recognized that and tried to engage me in that process. But there was fashion. And then in jewelry, I had Scott Rausch. And Scott Rausch, I was the only black guy at the jewelry convention. I used to notice, damn, very few black designers. And we had a big distribution with Zales and other stores. And then I went to Africa with Scott. We did the Diamond Empowerment Fund. And a bunch of Jews wrote $8 million worth of checks for the school we built, which was called the Cedar Institute in South Africa. And also for what now is a very famous school. We founded it with our money I got from the Jews. But I got it from them, the Oppenheimer family. We funded what's called the African Leadership Academy. Obama, everybody visits there now, but we started it. So, empowerment. White people are not all the same, right? Jews are different. Jews are afraid. They've been discriminated against. Jews have other qualities that kind of helped us in how many businesses? Beginning in civil rights. The Jews were there for us more than the other whites. I'm not saying they died with us, for us, they were slaves. No, I'm saying that they were there for us when the other whites weren't. So I just don't like a misinformation. I just want to share my experience. Because not only film, I was one of the first blacks. My name was on Nutty Professor as producer. I didn't ride a go-kart. I wasn't an actor. I wasn't necessary. But I was a producer. I rode the go-kart around on the set on Nutty Professor. And how did I get to become the first, if not the very first, black producer of a $70 million movie that was, not considered a black movie? I did that partnership with a Jew. So, what Minister Farrakhan likes to say, look at them. Look how they empower each other. Look how of course they're going to be angry you fuck with Israel. That's one of their favorite pet peeves. And of course, if you threaten their safety after having been through what they've been through, then of course they will be like pit bulls. I mean, I say they, I don't mean the collective. I mean parts of the collective, right? Because I don't mean everybody. When I say the Jews, I don't mean every Jew. Many Jews don't care about Israel, but a great number do. And so if you attack Israel, they'll say you're attacking them, and maybe that's misinformation too, but because you could love the Jews and not like Israel's policy. But all of these things, it's not.
All right. So that's what I got. That's what I got. Now, let's try to unpack this, man. He said a lot. I don't disagree with what he's saying, first of all. Walter, are you still there? I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with what he's saying. There's a lot of sense to this, but there's a lot of things he's not saying. Now, remember, let me give y'all some background. Now, I'm not trying to put Russell Simmons down, right? But let's be real. Russell Simmons is the same guy that was back in Harvey Weinstein. Remember that? He was the same guy protecting. Let's also bring this up. He's also been accused of the same thing Harvey Weinstein's been accused of. So maybe that's why he was protecting them. We know that Russell Simmons has as he just mentioned, a very close friendship and business relationship with the Jewish community. Now, let me also give some anecdotal. I know some Jews. I know some people in the Jewish community. Now, I have not done business. I have not entered in any business relationships with the Jewish community, but I know them. I know some. I talk to them in passing. I'm from California. We have a big Jewish community out here. I've gotten some business advice. Right? I've had some long, deep conversation with Jewish people, and they've all been pleasant. I haven't had anyone try to. I haven't had any. I didn't feel like they were discriminating. I just felt like they were good people. I felt like they were good people. I've had conversation with Orthodox Jews, right? I felt like they were good people, very intelligent, very smart, very what's the word I'm looking for? Generous with their time. I found them easy to talk to, even easy to get along with. I don't look at the Jewish community like they're bad people. But do I hear things? Do I know some things? Do some things go on in Hollywood that I'm not all, that I'm like, maybe that's not for me. Do they control a lot of assets? Do they control a lot of entities? Are they a powerful group? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Are they a protected group? Yes, they are. Ronald Curley says, "How was the business? How was the business advice? It was good, man. I've never gotten any bad per se business advice. From a Jewish person. I mean, it's usually coded in with. You know, one of the advice one of the Jewish guys told me, man, was don't rush. Life is about taking your time. You learn during the process, not when it's a finished product. Don't negate the learning. Who can say something wrong about that? Matter of fact, I was given a book to read. Man, a fantastic book, man, a spiritual book. Guy, I had a conversation with a Jewish person in the car. We had such a great conversation. He asked me for my email address. He emailed me, asked me for my address, and the guy sent me a book. When I say that book is powerful, man, very powerful. Very thankful to have that book. All right. Life-changing, even. Deep spiritual conversations in that book. Deep spiritual values in that book he gave me. I speak a little Hebrew. I took a course. I took a course in college to learn Hebrew. I know I can speak a few things. Ha Melech. I can say the alphabet. Aleph, Bet, Dalet, Gimel, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Heden, Tek, Yoden, Kaf, Lamet, Min, Zum, Zamek, Zayin, Pan, Kadi, Sufin, Resh, Sin, and Sheen, and Tav, right? So I can say the alphabet. I can read Hebrew. I have a background in, I went to school. I have a background in biblical studies. And, I studied Greek and Hebrew, right? Probably more Hebrew than Greek. But what is the problem with blacks and Jews? What is the relationship between the two? Why are they so intertwined? You got to start asking these questions. And Russell Simmons kind of brought a lot of that stuff up. He kind of shared, why the relationship because the WASP. What you guys don't know, if you guys don't know what WASP, when he refers to the WASP community, he's talking about the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant community. They did not want to deal with black people. So who had to deal? Who were the go-between for blacks and whites? A lot of the Jews stepped up. A lot of the Jews did business with us. A lot of the people that wouldn't do dealings with us was the Jewish community. Should we be thankful for that? Yeah, of course. A lot of black FBA, or there's a lot of black millionaires today. Black millionaires today that owe that can almost say they got on because somebody in the Jewish community helped them. Now, Walter, my question to you is, first of all, how do you feel about the speech Russell Simmons made? What do you think about the speech, the context? Was he accurate? Was it? I mean, obviously that's his anecdotal experience. But was there? Do you detest any lies and where he was coming?
Well, there's really no lies because that's his experience. However, you have to be a little wary of people using the truth to cover up something else. And I'm trying to look at one of the comments, if I may. What is this? Black anti? Okay, never mind. I went to the. So what I was saying is, you have to realize, like, a lot of people use the truth to cover up something else, and then you got to find out what that something else is, because he talked about his experience. His experience is his experience, right? But I have a lot of questions because people are people, right? Good and bad. And whenever you're not allowed to criticize a certain group, no matter who it is, you have to watch out for that, because then that shows that something is being hidden. And what am I saying when I'm saying that? Okay, well, when I was growing up as a kid, I got along with everybody, no matter what race they was. But one of the harsh realities I had to find out, because Russell Simmons, he's talking about everybody that Ye is not talking about. And that's the problem. Ye is talking about, hey, I'm talking about the people who are doing this, right? And
Right.
so when I was a kid growing up, I had, and I have Mexicans in my family, right?
Okay.
And so um, and shout out to some of my Mexican family, but like we tried as blacks, we tried. We had Mexican friends. They came over our house, played Nintendo, played video games. Hey, hey, can I come over to your house? And and some of my friends had to tell me, like, hey, I'm sorry to say it, but my parents don't like black people over at their house, right? And it wasn't just like one type of person. You know what I mean? It was like groups of them, and groups of parents with whatever mentality. And so sometimes we have to call out those groups that are participating in it. And what am I saying? Like, there are still European Jews, because let's not forget, um, Jerusalem was a place that was colonized. I say this a lot of shows, right? And they kicked. Look it up. It's history. A lot of European people that colonized Jerusalem kicked a lot of the blacks out, right? But there, we appreciate it. That there's a lot of Jews that give blacks money, like Russell Simmons said. A lot of black business people wouldn't have been in the fashion industry if it wasn't for the Jewish connection, or the European Jewish connection. However, today, if you look at a lot of the contracts, there are still a lot of Jewish owners who are putting things in the contracts of black people that shouldn't be there. Like, hey, you can't say this type of positivity in your contract. You can't do this in your contract. Okay, then are you really empowered? Those are the people that I believe that Ye are going after. And it's like we're not allowed to touch on that, especially as some of the black people that identify as Jewish. Why are we not allowed to talk about that? Just like when I was a kid, it was like it was taboo to talk about the parents that wouldn't let a black person come in their home, from many races. As a black, there was many races that wouldn't allow me, and I wasn't wild, I wasn't unruly, I wasn't a product of the.
Well, Walter, man, you're a big black man. You're
Yeah,
big and you're black. They
but
were
why?
probably scared.
Yeah, but yeah, and I did look older, because I mean I was in junior high. I believe I was like 6 feet in junior high, but it was like, why wasn't I allowed in this person's house of this race? Why was they allowed to come over my house and play video games, and we could kick it at school, but I couldn't come over their house? And they admitted, and some of them were best friends to this day.
Right. I've had
And
that happen to me too. I've had that happen to me too. There were friends that said, "Hey, man, you know, I just wanted to let you know, man, that my dad feels kind of this way, and you know, you know, you can come over, but he can't be here. My mom is okay, but this guy, I'm like, really? And you know what? I never liked that. When people start talking like that, even though they were cool and they were trying to give me the rundown, I just, what? I could never really be tight with that person. I could never really be tight. It wasn't the child. I know it was the father, but even that child, I just, I'm like, man, listen, if I can come over your house, you should be able to come over my house. If
Right.
if my parents can meet you, I should be able to meet your parents as well too. Especially that's how my dad was. My dad was like, hey man, this dude you can hang out with. This dude, I don't know about this dude. My dad would, he would tell me who my friends were before I even knew. This person is your friend, but this person is not really your friend. They're pretending. They're a little jealous. You got to watch them. My dad would always, he would tell, he would always get me to ask questions. Why don't you ask why? Why didn't you ask why? He always say, why didn't you ask why?
Right.
Don't assume. If you assume, you make an ass out of yourself. But you need to know why. Why? So I find it strange, man. That I want to hear, I like Russell Simmons. And like I said, I don't think he said anything wrong. But I'm also like, Russell Simmons also seems like people like he was told to do this.
Right, because he's not asking why. Like I could say the peaceful things about my friends of many different races all day, right? But as soon as I start asking, why wasn't I allowed in your house when I was a kid? Why even to this day, some people's sons and daughters will still come back to black people and say, hey, I got this girlfriend, or I got this boyfriend, but their parents don't like me. As soon as we start asking those, now all of a sudden, oh, now we're hating, now we're and relating it to what Ye's doing. Why can't he ask why are the contracts of some black entertainers like this? Why are the contracts of some athletes like this? Is this something that we have to just put up with? Why aren't we owners? Why can't we have another Black Wall Street? Why was Black?
Well, my issue with this, not to cut you off, my issue with this.
No, go ahead.
My issue is this. Why can we have a black-owned business, but a Jew has to be behind it? A Jewish person has to be behind it.
Exactly. Why do we have to? We appreciate.
And why did it have to be owned by black and Jew, but then we call it a black-owned business? Why isn't it a black and Jew-owned business?
Well, take it a step further. Why aren't blacks who are probably just as or more Jewish not accepted into those communities?
That's another question. Why are black people not allowed to say I'm Jewish, be affiliated with Jews? Those, we had Sammy Davis Jr. who was Jewish, right? Why is it a taboo when you have Ethiopians claiming to be Jewish, but they're not fully accepted? Why is it a taboo when you have Foundation of Black Americans, right? Who claim Hebrew Israelite or whatever, but they're not accepted? Why is it that we have to get DNA, right? What if, I don't, we can do DNA, right? DNA could tell us where we're from and all that other stuff. But why is it that, we have to prove that we are something and go as far, whereas, they can just say, hey, I'm Jewish, and no one bats an eye.
Right. And I wish I had a map to bring out so we could circle where Jerusalem is on the map in relation to Africa. I mean, do we really have to do that? But yeah, I mean, it's like it's okay for us to take money, but it's not okay for us to start being the owners, to be the ones that's in the position to give out money, in the position to help other people, just like how the Jewish people that helped a lot of black people helped. We need that ownership, and it's like it's taboo to have that type of ownership. And it's me said, oh, it's me. What's up? It's me. What's good, fam? It's me said, Jay's ain't no bridge between WASP and Afro-Americans. Trust me, it's way deeper than that. Yeah, we know it's way deeper than that. We're trying to not go against the, what do you call that? The YouTube censorship. I guess if you want to,
we're not gonna go too deep, you guys. We're not gonna go. If like again, the Patreon, we're gonna go in deeper on that, man. But we did want to discuss it. It is a taboo type of topic, type of discussion. There is some eggshells you got to kind of walk on. There is some codification you got to talk when you're talking about this particular group of people. They get upset, man, and you can get deplatformed. But we're trying to talk. We're trying to have the conversation in a respectful way. We're trying to have a conversation in an educative way, in a way where we're trying to have a conversation in a kind of codified way, if that makes any sense. We're trying to have this conversation. We're really trying to have the conversation without getting deplatformed, but we're trying to have the conversation to where it's not just one-sided, but it's all inclusive, if that makes any sense. Russell, like I said, Russell Simmons is like he got his issues too. Now, I don't want to down talk the brother. He's a very successful African American man or black man. If you watch Crush Groove, man, the brother was the man. The brother was the brother is brought us. Reverend Run is because of Russell Simmons. Okay. There was a lot of behind the scenes work. The distribution. Let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about the distribution system, right? The Jewish distribution system has been around forever. Forever. Black people didn't need them for distribution. We couldn't have got our music distributed the way we wanted our music to be distributed without going to players like Sony, Interscope, doing all these distribution deals, right? We couldn't have got on. The white record label, let's be real, they wasn't messing with us. So we do have to be thankful in a sense to that. And it is deeper than that. There is, it's so much deeper, man. We're just surfacing it right now. We're just covering the surface because we gotta play it safe. We got to play it safe. But at the same time, we also want to give you that real information too. Ye is not wrong. I want to say it clear. Ye is not wrong in calling out this particular group and particular people. He probably should have been, and matter of fact, he was specific. He dropped names. He gave you the names of these people that he has a problem with. Just like all white people are not bad, all Jews are not bad. All blacks are not bad, right? All Asians, all Hispanics. There are good people in every group. All Africans, they're not bad. They're good in everything. Like I said, I wasn't in business with any of these Jewish people that I came in encounter with, but they were very cordial. They were very respectful. I even had a talk with a Jew, and he told me he couldn't touch me. And he didn't want me to be alarmed. He didn't want me to be alarmed. He said, I can't touch you. But we can have a conversation. It was an Orthodox Jew. He's like, I can't be around sin. He had the whole thing, everything on, but he was still respectful. He was still respectful. So I'm just saying,
Wait, couldn't touch you though.
Yeah, he couldn't touch me. He said he couldn't touch me.
I guess I'm gonna have to ask you why later.
Oh, I'll tell you. He said he couldn't. He said he couldn't touch me. But he sat across from me. We had a conversation. I was with someone else too. We were both there, and he was he had the curls with the black, and he had the prayer shawl, everything. I think he was a rabbi. I don't know. Now, why he couldn't touch me, I don't know. But he was very apologetic, and he was, he seemed like he was a good dude. He seemed like he was coming from a good place. But We cannot negate that just like the white colonizers, the white European Jews played a part in the slave trade. We cannot knock that a lot of these slave ships, right, were being funded, were lent money by bankers, by these bankers from this particular group. We cannot knock that when it came time to figure out what was the worth of a slave, that they came up with the number. We cannot knock, right, that they were around during, that our demise was their rising. We cannot knock the many bad faith relationships, right? The bad faith business practices that have been done to my people of my color. We can't knock that. We can't knock that. The Jewish problem, I don't know, as Russel Simmons calls it, the black exploitation, the exploitation, that's wrong. That's wrong. Read their book, the Torah. It tells you that's wrong. And they know it's wrong. They know it's wrong. But they do it anyway. Because why? Because they can. Now you would think that because they went through discrimination, because they went through the Holocaust, that they wouldn't be treating other people that way, since they know how it feels to be treated that way. And not all, but we're just talking about the ones that I'm talking about, the ones that practice this. It's wrong. Ye has every right to call them out. Ye has every right to say this is bad practice. The media has every right to call out the media, to call out the platforms that are deplatforming him, to be upset with a bank for making him remove his money from the bank.
That was terrible.
We can't just say, oh, well, they went through this, they went through that. They were scared people, like Russel Simmons is trying to make it. See, that's where I gotta call you out, Russ. You can't just glaze over the injustice and the bad behavior. You can't just gloss over the bad practice and say, oh, it's because of the Holocaust. Oh, it's because of Israel. Or, oh, you can't do that. No, man. You either you treat people the way you want to be treated. You don't take advantage of people. I don't care what religion or what race you are. You just don't do that. Now, I don't want to get into some things that to where we know that they deem it, how can I say this? I'm trying to be, I might just jump out there. I might just jump out there. I might just leap and then let the chips fall where they may. But how can I say this? You can't, how can I say this? I might just have to say it. Okay. So for lack of a better word, Benjamin Friedman. That's all I'm going to say. If you know who Benjamin Friedman is, Google that name. Google that name, Benjamin Friedman. Google the newspaper, The Common Sense. Now, if you think that's anti-Semitic, just let me know. I'll just say it like that. I can't go any deeper than that. But like Kanye said, I can't be anti-Semitic. Walter can't be anti-Semitic. We don't even know what anti-Semitic means. Right? It's just a word that's thrown around. Right? And it's usually thrown around when they want to take their power back, right? When someone tries to take the power from the Jews, they throw that word anti-Semitic out. And I hope I don't get dinged on the platform from this, because I'm really saying that, white people are nice people, right? White people are nice people. Not all of them are white nationalists. Not all of them are slave owners or were slave owners. For the most part, white people are nice people. And for the most part, the Jews that I've come in contact with have been nice people. I can't say that I met any Jewish person that done me any harm. Now, again, I'm not in business with any of them. So, maybe if I get into business with one, I'll come back with a story that says different. But I cannot be blind to what my brothers are telling me in the music industry. I cannot be blind to what my brother Ye is saying. I cannot be blind to just what's obvious. There's something going on, and what needs to happen, I think what Ye is trying to say is Ye's trying to say, hey, all you Jewish people who like my music, all you sons and daughters of these record label execs who like my music, ask your father why I'm mad. Ask your father and your mother why I'm upset. Ask them how come they have these funny things in these contracts. Ask them how come Black people don't own their voice. That's all he's saying. It's Me says, you see the elephant in the room is that for the most part, whites are pretty open with their form of racism. Don't do that. They subvert, manipulate, and play on both sides, and they use both sides. Okay. It's me. It's Me is out there, right? It's Me is out there. I didn't say it. I'm just reading what It's Me said. Now, I'm not saying what he's saying is incorrect. There's blatant and open racism, and then there's racism that's done behind closed doors. Not all Jays, obviously. I'm talking about Zionists and crypto Jews. Okay, so now we got some names on it, right? I mean, we just got questions. Is all I'm saying. Right, Walter? We just got questions. We just want questions answered. We're not blaming. We're not putting all on anything. We're not putting all on anything. I'm just saying that Ye is not wrong. I'm not even saying that Russell Simmons is wrong. I'm saying there's some gray areas and there are some questions.
And why is it so bad to talk about those?
And why is it so bad to openly talk about it without fear of being deplatformed? Why did Nori have to delete his interview when Ye didn't say anything that warranted him to have that interview deleted? Why were they so afraid that people see that interview? that they had Nori take it down? You got to ask yourself that question. Why did Drink Champs take it down?
And I kind of want to make because I got to go get my bag. I got to get to work, but I kind of want to make a final point. Oh, everybody, be sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Once again, you guys were right on. Even Clifton that said Black people's always had a sweetheart. Yeah, appreciate that. But what I want to say is, why is it that you can't say anything about the Jays, especially the European Jays, right?
There we go, like that.
You can't say anything about the Jays, right, or the European Jays, right? But if we go look at news clips, right, why is it that people can openly talk about Black people? Why is it that? Yeah, why is it that people can openly and nakedly talk about Black people? Hey, Black people need to do this. The Black community to do this. Blacks need to stop being thugs. Black people need to stop doing what Black people, blah, blah, blah. Think about it. Out of all those news channels, right, that's owned by who, right, that talk about Blacks that way, replace the word Black with the Jays. Right? That's the hypocrisy of it all. Why are people able to say all that about Black people? Like, Black people need to get it together. Black people, blah, blah, blah. Right? You say that about the Jays, you'll be deplatformed. You'll go down. Why is it that we're not allowed to have that type of protection, that type of identity? That should let you know something. It's imbalanced, and so we should be able to talk about the tough things without having a Disneyland effect. We should be able to, because I want to know, even like Dave Chappelle said, why is it okay that people could say, why is it that people are banned from saying things about like the LGBTQ, blah, 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 but it's okay to say the N-word? It's okay for people to call each other the N-word. It's okay for white people to get up there and joke about the N-word. It's okay for the blackface. It's okay for people, white people, to play as Black characters. And well, the only one that can get away with is Robert Downey Jr. But that's another thing. but why is that okay? I want to know why. Why is all the things that label hate speech or anti-Semitic? Why is it okay if you change the word Jays to Black? Why is that okay? But it's not okay the other way around. Why can't we have an identity? Why, if I say I'm Jewish, I get scoffed at?
I'm Jewish.
So when we look at the region, and we see the region is right there where Africa is, we look up the history of exile and colonization.
And good point. And you can trash whites, and It's Me says, and you can trash whites 24/7 on TV, news, and academia. It's no biggie. But if you say something about the Jays, you're done. He's right.
Right.
You can talk impunity about white people. We could say cracker. We could say all kinds of things about white people, and guess what? You can't say the N-word to us. Oh no, don't say that. I mean, you can. But we're going to get a little, and then, if it gets out in the open, right, you can lose your job. You can lose your career, right? So there is some protection for Black people, especially with that N-word, because we like to show all these Karens and show all these people on TV that are mistreating or saying things against black people or anything like that, and they get put on blast and they lose their job and things like that. We do see that. We do see that. But he is right. You can say anything about a white person.
And people tell me that in other groups, and when I go to public speaking, because I do speak publicly, publicly, even though I'm gonna have a hard time speaking on the show for some reason, they say, "Hey, Walt, well, you know, the Jews went through the Holocaust."
Mm.
And I said, "Well, you know what?
What about the black people went through slavery? We went through
we
had our own Holocaust.
We went through an ongoing Holocaust. Like, do you know how many black people were lynched? And you can't even hide it because we were lynched and put on postcards.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, how many Holocaust postcards do you see out there? You know where they put people, Holocaust victims, on postcards, but you see black lynching postcards, right? What about the Tuskegee experiments, where black people were injected with syphilis? What about the many black towns and black businesses that are now
That's our Holocaust.
Lakes? That's our Holocaust. You know what I mean? What about the many black people that were part of the crack epidemic when somehow crack flooded the
black neighborhoods? Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, that
mass incarceration in prison, that's our Holocaust.
Right. So why is it that we can't? We're not allowed to. They just say, "Oh, well, you just can't relate. The Jay's been through Holocaust." I can relate. I grew up with, like I said, my father was a band member of Rolls Royce. So I spent some of my childhood in Anaheim, waking up KKK pamphlets on the driveway. I remember that at 4 or 5 years old. I remember that.
Mm.
I remember being sprayed. This guy a neighbor tried to spray me with a water hose when my dad wasn't looking, when I was out playing in the cul-de-sac by myself. And my dad wound up almost getting into a fight with him. I remember all that. So, you know, we can relate, but somehow we just don't get the protection. And that's the thing. Even if we take Ye out the picture, right? What if somebody else talks about it? I mean, you could say Ye is crazy. I don't think Ye is crazy. You could say he is, but let's just take Ye out the picture. What if somebody else talks about it? How are you going to label them? If anybody talks about it, why do they get a label? And that's all I want to say.
Man, well said, man. Man, we're about to end the broadcast. I see we got 830 people in the room, man. I wish we could rock with you guys a little bit longer, man. But we got to get out and go get the bag ourselves. The YouTube channel is growing, man. We're almost at 9,000 subscribers, man. I want to thank everybody for jumping in. I see 821 people in the room though. Go ahead, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the share button, get this out to other social media platforms. Subscribe to the channel. We're gonna hit you guys with more topics like this. We're going back to our bag. You see, we opened up talking about modern women, men being fed up, but we also want to get you guys on some real conscious topics like this as well. We want to try to tackle the controversial kind of topics like this. We're trying to, like I said, try to do it in a way where we don't get deplatformed. So if you guys don't see my channel anymore after this show, we're gonna start another one. Just look for another one. We're gonna look for another. We'll just start another one. We'll start all over again. I don't know, but we're on Rumble. Check us out on Rumble. We're on Twitter. Too Much Moxie Podcast on Twitter. On Rumble, Too Much Moxie Podcast. On IG, Too Much Moxie Podcast. On Facebook, Too Much Moxie Podcast. Okay, so look us up. 3 O's, TOOO, Too Much Moxie Podcast. We're going to be around here, man. We're going to continue uplifting men. We're going to continue putting down modern women because we don't rock with modern women. We want traditional women. And we're going to continue talking about, where you can go to get better relationships, Eat healthy, eating right. That's another thing we advocate for men's health just as well as men's mental health. Provider stress syndrome is real. We don't want a bunch of depressed, sick, just uninterested, unmotivated men out there in the world. We know what happens. A lot of a lot of things are going on right now. It's 2022. A lot of things are going on right now, but we have to be ready. And that's what this channel is about: is getting yourself ready, becoming the better version of yourself, so you can thrive out here in these streets. Shout out to Ye. Shout out to Russell Simmons. All I'm saying is, Russell, we still, even with you coming out with this post, we still got questions. We still got questions. Even with the Jewish people that I come in contact with, I tell them all the time, hey, if I get one of them, we get to engage in a deep conversation, I'm going to ask those questions.
Yes.
I'm going to ask those questions. And if I get one that wants to talk about it on the platform here, we'll probably bring that to the Patreon. I'm going to ask those questions. And I just think it needs to be answered. And I'm for this. I'm for coming together. I'm like this. I'm an FBA. I'm black, right? But I'm American. I'm for America. I don't want to see my country go down a moral decline. I want to see my country rise up and be what it was meant to be and be what it was supposed to be. I think the black people here in America, we hold America accountable. And I think we do a good job. I think we are needed because we are the ones holding America accountable to the words that they wrote in their Constitution, to their beliefs. And we don't want it hijacked, and we don't want it changed. So with that being said, man, I'm going to go ahead and end the podcast. Make sure you guys, again, we had a lot of people in the podcast today. The likes should be through the roof. We thank you for the comments that we have. We thank you for the comments and things that we have. We appreciate it. But make sure you hit the like button. You subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, this is the Too Much Moxie podcast. You got your host here, the big Walter Downing, myself, Too Much, and we are out. Peace.
Yeah, I feel like